Rupert Lowe has publicly expressed his support for Tommy Robinson, openly acknowledging his persistent efforts to expose cases of sexual exploitation carried out by organized gangs that have operated for years across various towns and cities in the United Kingdom. According to Lowe, Robinson's work has been instrumental in drawing attention to one of the country's most neglected and sensitive issues, where many victims were systematically silenced while authorities failed to act decisively. In a forthright statement, Lowe criticized elements of the mainstream press, specifically calling out a Telegraph journalist whom he described as arrogant, for dismissing or belittling Robinson's efforts despite the compelling evidence of their impact on the national agenda. For Lowe, this attitude reflects not only a disconnection from reality but also a lack of commitment to the truth, particularly when dealing with matters as serious as organized child sexual abuse. Lowe argued that no one has done more than Tommy Robinson to bring widespread awareness to the scale of systemic abuse and the institutional cover-ups that allowed it to continue for so long. He stated that Robinson had risked his personal safety and remained unrelenting in his mission to expose a situation that many in positions of power chose to ignore. In this regard, Lowe pointed out that while the authorities and much of the media opted for inaction, it was Robinson who succeeded in thrusting this scandal into the national spotlight. He also suggested that much of today's journalism appears more concerned with protecting professional status and adhering to the dominant narrative than with acknowledging uncomfortable facts. According to Lowe, this dynamic has led to the routine dismissal of those who dare to speak outside the official script, even when their efforts have been key to uncovering grave injustices. In his view, it was precisely this courage, not the actions of the political or media establishment, that forced institutions to recognize the scale of the problem. These remarks represent a rare instance within British political discourse, an explicit acknowledgement of a figure who has been widely marginalized by the official narrative. In highlighting Robinson's work, Lowe conveys growing frustration with the stance of many media outlets and public commentators who, in his view, have chosen to ignore or discredit those who dared to say what no one else would. This is all the more significant considering that Robinson has been subject to digital censorship, multiple arrests, and targeted smear campaigns from various quarters. Before we continue, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more content. In a follow-up statement, Lowe expanded on his position by confirming that he had published a carefully worded declaration of support specifically for Robinson's work in relation to grooming gangs. In that document, he acknowledged that, despite the controversy surrounding him, Robinson had played a central role in exposing what he described as a vile stain on our history. Referring directly to the Pakistani grooming gangs, Lowe stated that such crimes remain a national disgrace and that justice has yet to be served to all those responsible. For him, this is an issue that must be rooted out entirely, regardless of political or social sensitivities. During his comments, the question was also raised as to whether it is politically wise to show any degree of sympathy towards Robinson. Lowe was firm in clarifying that he is not aligned with Robinson or his style, and noted that even Robinson himself has said he is not suitable for the Reform Party. However, Lowe defended the principle that it is entirely valid to acknowledge a positive contribution, even if it comes from a controversial or unpopular figure. He argued that in a free and honest society, credit should be given where it is due, regardless of other aspects of a person's character or past. Responding to a criticism that labeled Robinson as an unpleasant individual, Lowe did not attempt to defend his personality, but reiterated that this does not invalidate the tangible results of his work on such a sensitive issue. He stressed that this is not about canonizing anyone, but rather recognizing when someone has made a real and meaningful impact in the fight against serious crime. He was also asked whether Robinson, currently imprisoned, should be entitled to visitation rights like any other inmate. Lowe responded affirmatively, reminding viewers that everyone should be treated equally under the law. He added that this matter should not be conflated with giving blanket approval to all of Robinson's views or actions, something he himself was careful to avoid throughout. Finally, when asked whether he regretted making his public statement of recognition, Lowe said he did not, and that he strongly believes in the principle of giving credit where it is rightly due. He admitted he was not privy to all the details of Robinson's legal case, nor could he confirm whether Robinson had been treated fairly by the justice system. However, he voiced concern about what he sees as a possible erosion of judicial independence in the UK, suggesting that some decisions may be subject to external influence. In summary, Rupert Lowe's comments represent an unusual but significant defense of the right to acknowledge merit wherever it exists, even if it comes from voices rejected by the mainstream. His statements reflect a growing tension between those who defend the official narrative and those who, like him, challenge the constraints being placed on public discourse. In other news, the United Kingdom could soon see major changes in car parks and electric vehicle charging stations, as a public consultation ending today may bring the country one step closer to its net zero emissions goals, championed by figures like Ed Miliband. In May, the Department for Energy Security and Net Zero, DESNZ, launched a call for evidence, aimed particularly at drivers, to assess whether outdoor car parks should be required to install canopies fitted with solar panels. This consultation examines a range of factors, including potential environmental and economic benefits, associated costs, and the implications for businesses. It also considers the feasibility of implementing such infrastructure in both new developments and existing car parks, with the broader goal of encouraging a transition toward more sustainable urban spaces. Among the proposals is the option to expand the plan to include multi-story and residential car parks, significantly broadening the scope of the initiative. According to estimates from DESNZ, a car park with approximately 80 spaces could save up to £28,000 per year in electricity costs by harnessing solar energy. Speaking about the proposal, Ed Miliband highlighted the vast potential of the hundreds of thousands of parking spaces across the country, which currently sit under direct sunlight without being utilized. He emphasized the opportunity to generate clean, homegrown energy, and expressed his intention to work alongside businesses and car park operators to transform these sites into solar installations that could help families and companies lower their energy bills. It is estimated that there are between 40,000 and 50,000 privately managed car parks across Great Britain, many of which could be retrofitted with solar panels over the coming years if the proposal moves forward following the consultation. Recent reports suggest that this strategy could unlock up to 13 gigawatts of new solar capacity, enough to power millions of homes, without the need to develop new solar farms, thereby preserving natural landscapes and rural areas. Miliband's approach takes inspiration from policies implemented in countries like France and the United States. In France, for instance, legislation passed 2 years ago requires large car parks to install solar canopies, setting a precedent for integrating renewable energy into urban infrastructure. At the same time, many supermarket chains and property developers in the UK have begun incorporating solar technology into their projects as part of their environmental commitments and goals for energy self-sufficiency. From the private sector, companies like Wolf River Electric, a US-based solar solutions firm, have endorsed the benefits of this model. They argue that solar panel installation on car parks requires no new land, as it repurposes already developed areas, which are often located in zones of high electricity demand. The consultation also ties this vision of sustainability to the growing demand for electric vehicle infrastructure. As of today, the UK has nearly 81,000 EV charging points, and analysts forecast that the 100,000 mark will be reached before the end of the year. The government's long-term goal is ambitious, to reach 300,000 charging points by the end of the decade. In recent comments, Justin Nielsen, a solar energy expert at Wolf River Electric, stated that solar car parks are no longer a futuristic concept, but a practical and multi-purpose solution capable of delivering clean energy while supporting sustainability goals. He acknowledged that although the initial investment may be significant, the long-term financial and environmental gains far outweigh the upfront costs. He also noted that such installations are a powerful example of how infrastructure can serve several purposes simultaneously, generating power, providing shelter, and promoting environmentally responsible practices. In the face of rising energy costs and the climate crisis, Nielsen stressed that adopting such innovative solutions is not only advisable, it is increasingly essential. UK citizens have until 11:59 p.m. this Wednesday, the 18th of June, to take part in the consultation via the official government website, sharing their views on whether solar canopies should become mandatory in car parks. What are your thoughts on today's topic? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe to the channel for more updates from across the UK. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.